Hello folks, I'm about to review the incantatory and atavistic novella The White People by Welsh author Arthur Machen, originally published in January 1904. The version that I read is a rare old and worn green book, like the one in the story, a hardcover in the format of compilation that does not have a labeled printing press or publishing house. Therefore, its origin is dubious and strangely left me immersed in the experience. The White People remains an unparalleled masterpiece of weird fiction, operating not merely as a narrative of supernatural dread, but as a profound theological and ontological interrogation of evil. Constructed as a nested narrative, it opens with a dense dialectic prologue between two men, Ambrose and Cotgrave, regarding the true nature of sanctity and sin, which then gives way to the Green Book, the diary of a young girl whose naive stream of consciousness. Prose gradually details her initiation into an ancient, pre-human world of cosmic sorcery. Machen's genius lies in his structural juxtaposition. The framing narrative is academic, dense, and hyper-articulate, while the internal manuscript is characterized by an ecstatic, breathless, and polysynthetic style, sentences linked by continuous conjunctions. This stylistic duality creates an intense narrative friction. Ambrose acts as Machen's philosophical mouthpiece, appending conventional Victorian morality by separating evil from mere social transgression or legal crime. The adolescent narrator describes horrifyingly anomalous entities, the White People, the Aklo letters, and the Chian language, with the innocuous vocabulary of childhood play, because the girl lacks the moral framework to comprehend the cosmic perversion she is witnessing. The reader is left to experience the horror through the widening chasm between her innocence and the profound malice of her environment. The core philosophical payload of The White People is its radical, non-anthropocentric redefinition of evil. Machen, via Ambrose, dismisses the notion that common crimes, murder, theft, or cruelty constitute true evil. These are merely social aberrations, reactive passions, or misdirected human appetites. To conceptualize Machen's taxonomy of morality, the reader has to examine evil not as a lateral deviation from human law, but as a vertical ontological assault on reality itself. In this framework, the supreme sinner is not the murderer, but the sorcerer. True evil is a lonely act of supreme spiritual hubris, wherein the human soul attempts to transcend its mortal boundaries by invoking chaotic atavistic forces that predate the righteous structuring of the universe. It is the deliberate cultivation of an elated state that is fundamentally hostile to creation, to convey an architecture of horror that is spiritual rather than physical. Machen deliberately subverts standard syntax, grammar, and narrative structure. He forces the reader to experience the uncanny, the unheimlich, or the strange within the familiar, through the medium of language itself. If we treat Ambrose as a secretly malevolent force, the entire meaning of the story shifts dramatically. Instead of a detached academic debate about morality, the framing narrative becomes a chilling psychological trap. In this way of thinking, he isn't condemning the dark magic in the Green Book. He is glorifying it, By elevating dark sorcery to the same spiritual level as sainthood, he is justifying his own hidden occult practices to Cutgrave. And to us, the readers, the horror is no longer just about a poor girl who died in the woods a long time ago. The immediate present threat is sitting right there in the room, quietly smoking a pipe, drinking tea, and smiling as he successfully initiates another victim into sin. The most striking stylistic feature of the Green Book is its relentless use of polysyndeton, the repetition of conjunctions, usually and, in close succession. Instead of structured analytical sentences, the young writer delivers a breathless, unpunctuated torrent of thoughts. This mimics the psychology of a child, but it simultaneously produces hypnotic, ritualistic, incantatory effect. An example could be, and then I went on further and further into the wood, and it got thicker and darker, and I turned around and saw a great white pool of water, and there was a white house on the other side of it. By removing the natural hierarchy of clauses, where some ideas are subordinated to others, every detail is given equal weight. A white pool of water, a strange phrase, and a terrifying entity are all flattened into the same exhausting sequence. This deprives the reader of a moral or logical anchor, mimicking the ecstasy, the standing outside of oneself, that Ambrose describes in the prologue. Machen understood that the human imagination is far more terrifying than explicit description. He employs a technique of semantic withholding, using words that hint at specific functions or histories, without ever defining them. He peppers the text with invented terminology that sounds ancient, phonetically jarring, and deeply esoteric. The Aqua letters suggest a hidden, forbidden alphabet of grammar. The Chian language evokes an antique, pre-human tongue. The Mao games and Chu rituals implies a highly structured, alternate system of worship disguised as childhood play. By leaving these terms entirely on map, Machen triggers interpretive crisis in the reader. The language acts as a veil, forcing us to intuit a vast, sinister cosmology operating just beneath the surface of the text. The emotional horror of the story relies on a linguistic mismatch between the signifier the words use and the signified, the horrific reality of what is happening. It is centered on the writings of a girl that lacks the mature vocabulary of theological corruption, so she reflects her experiences onto the innocent lexicon of nursery, rhymes, folklore, and play. Machen's The White People transcends the Gothic conventions of his era by suggesting that horror is not found in the decay of flesh, but in the ecstasy of the soul misaligned. It is a terrifying, elegant reminder that our constructed human moralities are mere fragile membranes shielding us from an older, wilder, and utterly spiritual topography.